Hi, Wenche. I'll just give it a couple of minutes because I was here a little bit early tonight, but how are you getting on with your book, Wenche? So I'll give it another minute or two before we start tonight. So that's the front cover and the back cover. I've not quite decided what I'm doing about the spine yet, which is why I've left both lots of papers. It doesn't quite cover all the way across, so I haven't quite decided what. So before I cut anything off, I'm going to wait and decide what I'm going to do with the spine. So we'll leave that there, but we'll come back to that, and I will think about that this week. Did I have a nice trip? Well, it was a bit mad last week. I was at a network meeting all day Monday, so I was out of the house from about 7 o'clock in the morning. Got back about 6:30 at night. Tuesday we had to pack the car to drive up to Scotland for my godmother's funeral. Took us about 6.5 hours up there. Wednesday was the funeral. Thursday we drove all the way home, unpacked the car. Friday morning we then repacked the car. I took the shop and we did an International Scrapbook Day weekend down in Stafford. So I drove down to Stafford on Friday night. We had the International Scrapbook Day weekend. We did scrapbooking on Saturday, and we stayed and played till about 9:30 Saturday night. And then again on Sunday we were doing a little bit of mixed media, a little bit of art journaling, a little bit of this, some scrapbooking as well. Packed that up, drove home on Monday, brought all the stuff in out of the car, but I took about 4 hours yesterday to put it back where it should go. And then today we've been over to North Wales looking at new houses, and it was absolutely gorgeous, but the wind was very, very cold. So yeah, I don't feel like my feet have touched the ground since last week. But yeah, we had, it sounds odd, but for it was a good time. It was a nice funeral, if that makes sense. So yeah, and tomorrow I'm not sure if I'm getting out of bed. I think I'm just going to rest. So we're now on week 4 Yeah, and I wasn't doing the driving when my husband, I drive, but if we're together, hubby drives. So yeah. So we've done our front page. I've not decorated that yet. I've decorated this part of the back of page 1 and the inside of the back of page 1. Yeah, not done page 2 yet. Decorated the inside of the back of page 2 and the inside of the front of page 3. And then back of page 3, front of page 4, half decorated. So now we're going to work on the back of page 4 and the front of page 5. And I've just realised I've not unpacked the book, so we'll be fine with that. So yeah, we're going to put 2 flaps on here. So let me get my trimmer. There's the book. So obviously, because I took a lot of my crafting stuff away to the weekend, I've not got it all back in order yet. So we're doing these 2 pages. So we're going to do these flaps first of all, and then we're going to do these pockets here. So let me put these back then I don't forget where they've come from. So we need to cut 2 at 5.5 inches by 2.75. Let's hope I don't knock that. I need to stand them up out of the way. So I've cut that at 5.5 inches. And then we need to cut it now at 2 3/4. That's 2.75. 2 3/4. So we now need to score this get the right ball tool. So we're going to score on the shorter 2 3/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And at 5/8 of an inch, which is just a little bit further over on your scoreboard. And the reason we're doing this is to give it a little bit of a gusset, because once you've put your things in, it might get a bit bulky. So if we give this with a gusset, it'll give you a better lie flat. So I'll pop that down. So I'm just going to fold those 2 on there. So this is going to go onto that corner, that outside edge of the page. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on here. While sorting things out to pack up for the weekend, I did find my little glue bottle. I tend to decant the glue into the smaller bottle, but it's been somewhere safe for a while, but it is back where it should be now on my desk. So just going to line that up and burnish that down. Use the big one today. So I'm just going to burnish that down, and that's that one. And you'll notice if I'm doing pages like this, I tend to have them stood up in front of me so I know which is the front and which is the back of which one we're working on. So, hello Helen, it's telling me you've been here a while, but it's only just shown me that you've commented. I think there is a slight delay between what people are commenting and what's coming up on my screen. So if you have commented and I've not said anything, I'm really sorry, but it's just a little bit delayed tonight. Must be all that sunshine's putting it off. There we go. Pop your glue on there. That might need a refill. And then I'm just going to line that up like so and burnish it down. Make sure it's level. And then we've got our little gusset there as well. So now what we're going to do is make the large pocket to go on the front of this. So you need to cut one at, or you need to cut two actually. Just pick my card up. So we need to cut one at 6.5. I need a bigger trimmer. Has anyone found a great all-round trimmer scoreboard that does everything rather than having lots of different boards? So I'm going to score this at cut it at 6.5 inches. And then we're going to cut it at 7 3/4. And on the second one, we're going to cut at 6.5 by 7 3/4. And then we're going to score so on the shorter side, which is the 6.5 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch. And again, at 6 inches. That's right. And then on the longer 7 3/4 inch side at 1/2 inch. I don't know why I put that away because I need to do that on both pockets. So score all the way down at 1/2 inch and at 6 inches. Spin it round, and on the longer 7 inch side, score at 1/2 inch. And then Just realised I've not unpacked my scissors. So we're going to mitre the corners. So we're just going to cut up to that corner, wiggle your scissors a bit and cut that off. And exactly the same again. And then we're just going to fold our corners, fold our score lines over. Hiya Carol. Evening Beth. Late back from grandchildren's school pick-up and swimming lessons. I thought when you were retired you're supposed to have more time to do things for yourself. Is that not right anymore? So yeah, again on this one we're just going to cut up to there, turn it. And again on that one. So we're going to fold those over, and then I'm just going to get my big bone folder and fold that down, and again just press that down. The better your creases are, the sharper your creases are, the better they lie flat in your book. So what we're going to do, this is our hinge if you like, this 1 inch score line here. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this pocket up to the score line with the open end where your flap is. Yeah. So glue. I'm going to glue on all 3 sides. Preferably. So although that page isn't sealed here, you can see there, you can just see it doesn't quite meet in the middle, but because of our pocket and our flap here, it doesn't matter, it's not going to come open. So I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Now this is the way I've done it, we've got the solid part of the page there. Again, I'm only going to put the, excuse me, I'm only going to put the pocket up to this score line. I'm not going to go over it because that's where we need our book to be able to move, to be able to open the pages. So just line that up there and make sure it's straight top and bottom, and then just burnish that down like that. Now to make the photo mats for that, you need 2 at 5 1/4 by 10 1/4. So if we cut down to 10 1/4, stick all your bits of card over to one side. We might be able to use them later. And then we're going to cut this at 5 1/4 this way. And because we've got 2 pages, we need 2 of those. So that's 10 1/4. by 5¼ And even with these little offcuts, if you don't get to use them in this book, you can use, I have an alphabet die set, she says, that's just about that big. So I can sit and cut a load of letters out, or you could cut flowers out, or you could cut little tags out of them, or you could just get sick of them hanging around your craft room and throw them in the bin. It's entirely up to you. So for our pocket photo mat, we're going to score on the 10¼ inch side. We're going to score at 7 inches. And we'll do that on both of them. Oops. So when we fold this across and this one, so these will now slide into our pockets, if you get them straight. Yeah, my glue's oozed. So that will just slide into that pocket and fold over, and then that one folds over on the top, and exactly the same on this one. It slides in, folds over, and then that one folds over on the top. So I'm going to decide what papers to use. I've already took that one out. So I'm going to need a large piece here. But I can use smaller pieces on there. So I'm not going to use that. I think I'm going to use those for tags, photo mats. So I'm going to take that out and put that to one side. Again, these make beautiful tags. So I'm going to put that to one side as well. I think I'm going to use out of the, I've still got some larger offcuts, but not quite. That one might be big enough, but that's not deep enough for the page. So I think this tends to take me the longest, working out what papers to use where. Again, it's all down to your own personal preference, and it can take a while to work it out. So let me just, I'm trying not to do it the same as the original. No, that's fine. Sometimes I end up choosing the same page. So I'm going to use that one on that side and that one on the other. So I want, this is going to have to be cut down to just under 7 inches. I want the bird on it. Now, where do I want the bird? Right, I'm going to trim it to get rid of this wall at the bottom, because we can. So line that up. So if I pop that on there, you can measure it and take 1/8 of an inch off, but again, if your creases are larger or smaller, you might end up trimming a little bit more off, which is why I tend to do it with pencil and mark it that way. So again, just going to go up to there. And trim the top piece off. Now, have I inked the edges on that? Yes, I've inked the edges. I'm just going to ink the edges a little bit just to take the stark white core off and just give it a little bit of a vintagey look. So pop the glue on. And that needs refilling. Just make sure it's lined up. And that's one. I'm quickly going to refill this because it's annoyingly empty. So yeah, I just empty the larger bottles into the smaller one. Just because I find the smaller ones are they're not as heavy plastic, so it's easier to squeeze. So now I'm going to take this side, and on this side I'm going to stick with this theme but use the cracked wall effect. So I'm going to pop that at the top. So we need to trim about, not quite 1/4 of an inch off that side, and then trim off that side. So yeah, it is just a tiny bit off. Again, I'm just gonna ink over the edges. And then put our glue on. Line that up. Make sure it's straight. Okay. So now we need, excuse me, we need to cover the outside bits. And I think I'm going to use that piece there just so it flows on. So again, I'm just going to line it up, make a mark where I need to cut it on both sides. Sometimes if the piece of paper you're cutting is not quite not quite wide enough, if you spin it round, it's easier to see the bit that you're cutting. So again, just ink the edges. Evening, Helen, nice to see you. Is that it all done with the lacrosse and football practices on a Wednesday night now for you? So I'm just going to line that up and just press that down. And I might actually use that bit on that side. So I'll just trim that there and there. So it kind of all follows on the theme. Trim that off there, and then there's a tiny bit coming off. There we go. So again, I'm just going to ink the edges. I think I'm using Distress ink, Gathered Twigs. There are a lot more ink brands out on the market since I first got these, but a lot of them are just the same colours, just by a different brand, or they do the same thing in maybe a rectangle ink pad rather than a square one. There's some that are ovally shaped, but there are only so many different colours you can have. I don't tend to go and buy many more ink pads. I've got the whole set of the Distress and some of the Distress Oxides. I don't think you need, I know people who have got like the full set of 4 different brands of ink pads, and they've actually said that they don't need them all because a black is a black is a black no matter who make it. So there we've got our 2 back pieces, and then this is your photo mat. So you can get a 7x5 photo on there and on the back. So if you find it doesn't quite go in at first, if your glue's oozed out, and I can't find it, this might be too big, just a plain ruler and push it down to the edge. So it should now go in. It only needs a tiny bit of glue to ooze out the edges. Yeah, I need my longer flat ruler. I know where it is. So if you get your long flat ruler and just slide it to the bottom and then just move it across. And then that slides in and that folds over the top. Okay, I will put some pattern paper on there afterwards, but because it's only a small section, I won't put it on until I've filled a lot of the bigger areas. Again, fold that over and you've got your two opposite pages. Just have a little bit of a tidy up because I'm just in a bit of a... So that's the back of page 4 and the front of page 5. So on the back of page 5, we're going to do a simple pocket. Just so you know where we're going. Yeah. So we're going to put a flap at the top and just a simple pocket at the bottom to put our photo mats in. You don't have to put the flap if you don't want. You could just leave it as an open pocket. I just like that it coordinates. Not very often that I manage to do that, but why not? Evening, Alison. Oh, don't worry about being late. The live will still be in the group for about 3 weeks. And as long as YouTube plays, it will be uploaded probably overnight tonight. If it plays, it uploads in about 20 minutes. If it doesn't, it sometimes takes about 2 hours. But so what we need to do is a simple pocket, which is a U-shaped pocket to go on the bottom. So for that, I'll cut both at the same time because why not? We need 2 at 8.5 inches by 4 inches. So you will get 2 out of 1 sheet of A4. I'll tell you the truth, I was going to do these pockets at 4.5 inches and then realised you wouldn't get 2 out of a sheet of A4, so I cut it down a little bit. So 8.5 by 4 inches. And again, another 4 inches. And you're only wasting that little bit. Then we get our scoreboard out again. It is very, very dirty, but it did see a lot of use at weekend. So on your 8.5 inch side, I'm going to score at 1/2 inch and at 8 inches. And then we're going to spin it round, and on the 4 inch side, just at 1/2 inch. And do exactly the same for both pockets. So again, line it up, 1/2 inch. 8 inches, and 1/2 inch on the longer side. Then where the lines intersect, we're just going to trim off up to the corner, turn our scissors slightly, and just reduce the bulk at the corner. Is anybody else enjoying this really nice sunshine that we're having? Or is it just me? Okay, so just burnish those down. And I've just realised, despite looking for this earlier and only being able to find the large one, I've just picked it up instead of the big one. Shouldn't be allowed out. I'll just pop that down. Now I tend to do it so that if I put that behind, you can see there's very slightly a little gap between the corner pieces. Now on this one, I've not quite done it and they actually overlap, which gives you a bit of a bulky corner. So just trim that off. And there you've got less bulk in the corner. So let me have a quick look. Helen, almost up here. Yes, there's a cutting guide for tonight. I think I put it on about, I actually did the post at about 10 o'clock this morning, but I mustn't have pressed post, but it went on about 20 past 7. It's been raining and cold. Oh, Helen, where are you? We've had beautiful sunshine, although I believe it's going colder. Beautiful weather in... What's your temperature in Norway at the minute, Wenche? Is it still cold? So again, I'm just going to put this pocket up to the line here. So I'm going to pop that, line it up on the bottom and just up to that score line, Norfolk. Oh, it's not often that us here in Manchester have sunshine, so I just make the most of it when we do. But Norfolk's a beautiful part of the country to live in. Very flat, so no hills that you have to climb. So again, I'm just going to put glue on the second pocket. And put it, now it's 7. 7's cold. Yes, I don't do well with cold. I'll just ooze some more glue out there. So that's our pocket on the bottom of those pages. Now for the top flaps here, we need 2 at 7.5 by 3. Now, a couple of the things you cut off earlier will come in useful for this. So this one is already 3 inches wide. So 7.5 is there. I'm just going to trim that down. Helen's laughing at me. That's not true. Glorious sunshine. We do get some good sunshine. You're right, Helen. Just not enough of it. So I'm going to trim that down to 3. And again, 7.5 is there. So again, it's just the top flap, so we only need to score it on the short side, which is the 3-inch side. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch on both of them. It's not Nevada weather, no. You're right, Helen, it is absolutely beautiful at the moment. Or it was. My son's just gone, the sun has gone round the corner, so it's a bit dark in the garden now. So just fold those over and burnish them down. So we've got both of those, and we're just going to attach those at the top of the page. Oops. Again, just line it up, and it will go from the edge of the page all the way up to the score line. I just realised I've got blue everywhere. Okay, and then we're going to do the same with this one. And just line that up. And burnish that down. Now, whoops, when I'm decorating sort of across 2 pages, I try and get, wrong one, sections that complement each other. Obviously you don't want to put something like, wrong one, so a brick pattern wouldn't really go with the other, so try and, it doesn't have to be exact, but just do it so that they complement each other. So let's have a look. I quite like, I was right first time, so I quite like this with the butterfly and the floral on, but that pocket, you might lose quite a bit of it. Now for one of them, I'll probably do it, I could actually do that along the bottom and then put the next section up at the top, because it only overlaps by a very small amount, which that small amount is about, oh, it's less than 1/2 inch. So we know that's 7 inches across. So I want 7 inches from this side of the paper. So I'm going to turn it round and go just under the 7 inches and pop that to one side. And then, so your pocket is 3.5. So what I'm going to do is line this up at the bottom with my small gap, and then just trim, leaving a small amount from the top. So that is going to sit there like that, and I've cut that too short. So I will so when you cut things too short, turn it over and line it up together. See, I did that deliberately to show people what to do if they think they've cut paper too short. Helen, could you do a slow page? But yes, I will do. And then just get some double-sided tape on the back of the join. And I find it's easier to get it to meet together from the back than from the front. Not quite sure why. But I know that is fine. Just line that up. And tear that off. Oops. So yeah, I went off the wrong line on the paper. But it shows how easily it's done. But it also shows you it's not a problem and you can fix it. So let's just so that'll go on the bottom like that. Bring that down, and then that will go at the top on the flap, and I'll just trim that there. So, no, that's that way around. Have a quick read while I ink the edges. Yes, I'll do a slow walk through in a minute. Sounds, it's so easily done though. But it's not a big issue. It's, you know, it happens, and as long as we find a way to fix it or get another piece of paper, it's not a big problem. And at the end of the day, even if you mess it up, it's just a piece of paper. It's not, it's, as my grandma used to say, it's not brain surgery. So, and yes, I am human. If you've ever seen me when I was trying to decant some glue and it kind of went everywhere, and you would have heard then that I'm very human. So just lie that down. Oops, make sure it's straight. And then, so when you put this on the top, you get it the right way round, you will see that your rose meets up your leaf and this bit of your rose, so it does look like one picture. I've already done that. And there's no such thing as an error in crafting. It's just an opportunity to do it your own way. So that's that side. Now I could get away with using the top half on there. I think I might actually use this section, then they go together. And this is called thinking, not having a plan prior. So I'm going to trim that here. And then for the top, I'm going to trim, oh, I don't lose that much of the top of the page, trim that down there. And move the trimmer out of the way. So I'm just going to ink these edges up. Oh, I've managed to keep the butterfly hole. So again, we're just going to pop some glue on. And that's going to go on the pocket at the bottom. Just line that up. And then put this on the flap at the top. So that gives you your two coordinating pages on that. So if you're anything like me, you have still got to decorate the front pages and the inside there. Next week what I'll do is go through doing, so you've got the whole picture, if you like, on there. We've done this page and I've done that. Now this one we do have now offcuts like this that could go there. That was actually the back of the front cover, so that could be trimmed down and put on there, but I'll leave that till the end, because there might be others like that one that would fit, or that one. So I do tend to do, when I do it, do the large pieces first. Again, yeah, I need to, with this one, again, I've done that page. These, that would fit nicely on there. So that's why I do the larger pieces first. These two pockets here, again, I could do something like that and have them following up. Same with that one. Next week I'll go through and show you how to decorate these corner pockets, just to make life a little bit easier. And again, the top is just a straightforward section. I could even use a section of that, or I could use that side, so we'll see. This one, we just need a tiny section here to cover, and then we've got a section there that we can cover. Now you could, if you have lots of photographs, yeah, you could actually put a 3x4 inch photograph on that bit and then maybe some writing underneath it. Exactly the same with that one as well. And then we've just got underneath there and in there, and we'll cut the photo mats on that one. Exactly the same photo mats to do on there. So what I'll do, just to make it a little bit easier, because I know there's a lot of white on that because I've not decorated that yet, I will do it with the main book, whose flowers are squashed because I dropped my trimmer on it. So these are the cut aparts that I said you can use. You can write on the back, you can put photos on the back, or you can just leave them as is. This is the 3D die cut chipboard pieces, and they just, if you just put some glue along the bottom and up that side, they just tuck behind it nicely. So you've got a 7x5 photo mat, and you've got one of the tags. And I've just realised that's a rub-on that I've not took the backing off. And then here you've got your 2 6x4 photo mats, so you can get 4 on those, and then they both open out. And then I'll open this one out first. So you've got a 7x5 photo mat and another one of the 6x4 cut aparts. So I'll just flop that over. And then on this one, again, that you don't have to leave these plain. I've actually put rub-ons on here, but like on this one, if you wanted to put a 6x4 photograph and just attach it to the page, that's fine. And move that across. So we've got 2 door pockets. I've left that as is, but you could put photos on there as well. And exactly the same on that one. Okay. Evening, Lynn. How's it going? So yeah, you've got your top flap, and then you've got your corner pockets for your 7x5 inch photos. If you wanted to put 6x4 photos on as well, you could do. At the end of the day, it's your book. You can do what you like. This, I don't know if you see, it is one of the chipboard elements as well, so that's quite chunky. But because of the gap between the pages with the beads, it means that it doesn't cause problems with the pages sticking. And then we've got this one where we open those out, and then these are our photo mats. So again, you've got a 7x5 and a 3x4, and push it in straight. So you've got those as well. Then this is the page we've done tonight. We've got our top flaps, and then we've got pockets for your photo mats. So next week it'll just be your pocket and your 2 doors. Again, these are some of the tags that I've cut out, and another one of the picket fence chipboards with some more of the cutter parts. Okay, so homework for next week, says Jill, who's not done any homework yet on any of it, is to decorate up to where we are now. If you want to wait and decorate it all at the end, but start, if you're going to go ahead, start with your big pieces, so your fuller sections. So on this one, start with the big piece in the middle. Again with this, start with the inside with the bigger pieces. These aren't as bad because they are just smaller sections. Look at your top section, your top flaps. Done that one. And then again, you're going to have your top bit and the bit that goes inside the pocket, and we'll work on the back next week. Now, for those of you that are still here, I might have a sneaky peek for you, because although I was working on scrapbooking at weekend, with it being International Scrapbook Day, I was also working on the next book that I'll be doing here in class, and it is actually a folio. It didn't start off as a folio, but it's ended up as one. And I got a bit over enthusiastic with the hinge, so that will be being made a little bit smaller because I didn't need it that big. But we're going to be using, and this is actually using a 6x8 paper pad from Arden Creative Studios, and it's by Katie Petite. Now, I don't know if you any of you remember, a couple of years ago, 49 and Market brought out Spectrum Sherbet that was really, really nice. It's the same designer, but she's actually working with a UK based firm now. So these are some of the pages that I've not used yet. In the back of your book, these are die cut, so they just pop out. So your tags just pop out, and all your little words just pop out, which I think is amazing, because then you don't have to mess about cutting them. So like I say, it's not going to be that big because I got a little bit carried away. But that'll be the front page, and then it opens up, and that's got a waterfall, and I really like that because it worked out first time, which is unusual. And then, yeah, I've not done that bit yet. We'll start at the back because I have done that bit. So this opens up. I've not finished yet because these are the small bits. And then you've got a side pocket here. And as you can see, it just fits the one 6x8. Again, 2 pockets on these two. 2 corner pockets. I love that paper. And another side pocket there and there. And I can't remember what I was going to do on there. I have got a sketch somewhere where I've scribbled out what I'm going to do on each page, but I can't find it at the minute. I think we do miss it when we don't craft, Helen, because I think we forget that this is our downtime, our relaxation from children and housework. Yeah. Oh, lots of questions here. Arden is a UK company. It's based in Redditch, which is just a bit lower than Birmingham. I know that because I went to collect some papers from there. The travel collection the other week for International Scrapbook Day, which I will put some photos up in the group. It is absolutely gorgeous and no fussy cutting. What's not to like? It is a beautiful collection. It also has, she says, I think it has rub-ons as well. Yeah, I'm sure it has rub-ons to go with it. So it is a beautiful... so that'll probably be in 2 or 3 weeks. I'm hoping to have it finished to show you properly in the group next week. And I'll have worked out what else there will be with it for embellishing. So I'm going to let you all go and rest up, put your feet up for a bit, and I will see you all same time next week, planning international conferences. Oh, Helen, you must be shattered. So have a lovely weekend, enjoy the weather if it's been nice to you, and I will see you all next week. Okay, take care everyone, bye.